Why do you think there's such a taboo against acknowledging this type of information despite the irrefutable facts?
Well, I think it ties right into the chapter is this if we accept this, I think there's a tacit understanding that this just blows our metaphysics out of the water. Like this destroys materialism irrefutably, and that's why it's in here as part of the chapter. And I think people recognize that. And because materialism has become a metaphysics for us, because it has become part of our deep mindsets and even our identity to some degree, you know, to a large degree, especially say a decade ago and the decades before that, anyone who was not a materialist, you could kind of look at it and be like, are you really scientific? Like that was the general perception of like scientists are materialists. And there's still some people who believe that, including some scientists, but it's become much less prevalent and much less acceptable to just sort of have that glossing view at this point. And so, but because there is that level of identification between science and the identity of being a scientist and the preconceptions of materialism and even down the road nihilism, the sense that if we recognize these things, we need to undergo some big changes in our basic orientation to life and to the possibility of the world. And even though you and I probably think that, well, that's a good thing because really this just opens up possibility, it's still uncomfortable to challenge your basic assumptions, and especially when your identity's mixed up in it. So I think that's where the resistance comes from, is because people know the implications just intuitively. They know that if we had to admit that this was true, it would change so many things so drastically, even if it's just a tiny little effect. Like it just is incompatible with the ideas of materialism. And so if you're going to get rid of materialism, you got to get rid of stuff that is built off of that. And that's so much of our modern world and mindset that it becomes threatening when that's threatened.